storytelling video. I will read the tales of Beedle the Bard by J.K. Rowling, and it is a very little book with 5 stories in it, all separate and different, and they all are revolved around the wizardy world that J.K. Rowling curated. I will also read the extra notes that Albus Dumbledore has written in them, and later I will also add pictures of the characters and the stories in it. I will let you hear the sound of the converter of the outside of the book. It's very small and it has a little tree stem on it and nice kind of fantasy-like leaves and a skull on it. So I will open the book and I always love the sound of pages turning, so it's very relaxing. And nice little drawings that are black and white. And then we will start with the introduction. The Tales of Beedle the Bard is a collection of stories written for young wizards and witches. There have been popular bedtime readings for centuries, with the result that the Hopping Pot and the Fountain of Fair Fortune are as familiar to many of the students at Hogwarts as Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty are to Muggles, non-magical children. Beedle's stories resemble our fairy tales in many respects. For instance, virtue is usually rewarded and wickedness punished. However, there's one very obvious difference. In Muggle fairy tales, magic tends to lie at the root of the hero-heroine troubles. The wicked witch has poisoned the apple, or put the princess into a 100-year sleep, or turned the prince into a hideous creature. In Tales of Beedle the Bard, on the other hand, we meet heroes and heroines who can perform magic themselves, and yet find it just as hard to solve their problems as we do. Beedle's stories have helped generations of wizarding parents to explain this painful fact of life to the young children. Their magic causes as much trouble as it cures. Another notable difference between these fables and their Muggle counterparts is that Beedle's witches are more active in seeking their fortunes than other fairy tale heroines. Usha, Althea, Amata, and Babbity Rabbity are all witches who take their fate in their own hands, rather than taking a prolonged nap or waiting for someone to return a lost you. The exception to this rule, the unnamed maiden of the Warlock's airy heart, adds more like an idea of a storybook princess, but there's no happily ever after at the end of a tale. Beedle the Bard lived in the 15th century, and much of his life remains shrouded in mystery. We know that he was born in Yorkshire, and that the only surviving woodcut shows that he had an exceptionally luxuriant beard. If his stories accurately his opinions. He rather liked muggles, whom he regarded as ignorant rather than malevolent. He mistrusted dark magic, and he believed that the worst excesses of wizard kind sprang from the all too human traits of cruelty, apathy, or arrogant misapplication of their own talents. The heroes and heroines who triumph in his stories are not those with the most powerful magic, but rather those who demonstrate the most kind, common sense, and equanimity. One modern-day wizard who held very similar views was, of course, Professor Albus Percival Wulfric Brian Dumbledore, Order of Merlin, First Class, Headmaster of Hogwarts, School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, Supreme Mugwump of the International Confederation of Wizards, and Chief Warlock of the Wizardgamoth. This similarity of outlook notwithstanding, it was a surprise to discover a set of notes under BeedleTheBards among the many papers that Dumbledore left in his will to the Hogwarts archives. Whether his commentary was written for his own satisfaction or for future publication, we shall never know. However, we have been gracefully granted permission by Professor Minerva McGonagall, now Miss Address of Hogwarts, to print Professor Dumbledore's notes here, alongside a brand new translation of the Tales by Hermione Granger. We hope that Professor Dumbledore's insight, which include observations on wizarding history, personal reminiscence, and enlightening information on the key elements of each story, will help a new generation of both wizarding and muggle readers appreciate the tales of Peter the Bard. It is the belief of all who knew him personally that Professor Dumbledore would have been delighted to lend his support to this project, given that all royalties are to be donated to Lumos, a charity which works to benefit children in desperate need of a voice. It seems only right to make one small additional comment on Professor Dumbledore's note. As far as we can tell, the notes were completed around 18 months before the tragic events that took place at the top of Hogwarts Astronomy Tower. Those familiar with the history of the most recent Wizarding War, everyone who has read all 7 volumes of the life of Harry Potter, for instance, will be aware that Professor Dumbledore reveals a little less than he knows or suspects about the final story in this book. The reason for any omission lies perhaps in what Dumbledore said about truth many years ago, his favourite and most famous pupil. It is a beautiful and terrible thing, and should therefore be treated with great caution. Whether we agree with it or not, we can perhaps excuse Professor Dumbledore for wishing to protect future readers from the temptations to which he himself has fallen prey, and for which he paid so terrible a price. By J.K. Rowling. I want to thank all of you for just hearing a little bit about this book. If any of you would like to enjoy any parts of this book, please send me a message and I will make a second video about the first story in this book.